Hi, senior capstone class. Dr. Ramirez here. I've had a couple of emails and questions about the final paper for capstone, so I'm going to go over it to help explain and clarify how the structure of the paper needs to present and how the presentation needs to look, okay? So your final paper is going to be this 10-page text, okay? 10-page text, which means 10 pages of actual paper, and then you'll have the cover page, and then you'll have the reference page. So you'll have 12 total pages at the end of this, but 10 of those 12 pages are text. They're actual, the research you've done and the paper you're writing, okay? So has to be minimum 10 pages text. So just think of it this way, 12 total pages, but you can exceed that if you'd like, okay? But you cannot go under that. So you can have a cover page, you must have a reference page, and then 10 pages within that of text. No abstract is required for this APA or ASA style format paper. The paper is supposed to talk about two basic areas, okay? Remember, senior capstone is about how to launch yourself from a college student to a career-oriented graduate with a degree in sociology, okay? Or women's with a minor in women's studies, depending on which capstone class you're taking. And so the paper has to focus on your career. So at the beginning of the semester, I had you guys take a career quiz, and it gave you three top options of where your career interests lie based on the assessment you took. Okay. You are welcome to use one of those career paths as your career choice, since that's what you identified with by taking the career test. The book that we've been reading, Great Jobs for Sociology Majors, which we had the first discussion in class, and then unfortunately the second class got canceled and we weren't able to meet. That book has highlighted what to do with careers in sociology. So it's helped break down those areas on that career quiz. And depending on which one you fell under, you could really focus on the reading in that book to better understand that career path and how to apply the sociology degree. Okay. So your paper is going to talk about your career. Okay. And it's going to talk about why you want to do this career. What draws you to it. Okay. The other part of the paper is going to be your theory. Okay. So throughout your time in the sociology anthropology program, you have had all sorts of classes. And in those classes, you've learned about different sociological theories: conflict theory, structural functionalism, symbolic interactionism, feminist theory, queer theory, critical race theory, whatever it may be. There have been different types of theories, okay, within these major, larger theories that maybe you've gravitated towards, right? You feel is more what you believe in based on how society is structured and why things happen the way they do, okay? So the first part of your paper traditionally would talk about theory. The second half of your paper would talk about your career. And the theory that you put in the beginning of the paper, like kind of explaining yourself as a sociologist, these are the theories that support why you think the way you think based on society and culture and why these things occur. You're going to quote lots of theorists. You're going to use lots of sources to back it up. These are academic peer-reviewed sources that you have to use. Once you do that in the first 5 pages of the paper, 5 or 6 pages of the paper, the remaining 5 or 4 pages of the paper will be you connecting your career choice to those theories. So you're going to talk about, I want to be a therapist. I want to go into social services. I want to work as eventually a mental health counselor, but I want to start out as a case manager helping kids after I graduate with social services. Okay, well then you would talk about why you want to do that, what draws you to it, why it's important to you, and then you're going to talk about why you think that's necessary by pulling out your theory from the beginning of the paper. So you may, if you're a conflict theorist, you may say, I want to go into social services and become a case manager and help kids in these underrepresented areas because within society, there is a conflict based on the distribution of power and resources. And you can talk about Max Weber and Karl Marx and how they talked about the distribution of wealth and power being very inequitable, unequal. And that's the theory that has driven you into the passion of wanting to be able to work with this population to help bridge that gap, to bring sense and context to the undeserved population or children or families who are suffering. So the idea of the paper is to support the first half of the paper on your theory. Like you're going to unload on theory. Make sure that you source appropriately and page number and parenthesize and put quotations and all that good stuff. You don't want to plagiarize. So make sure you write the paper appropriately. So in the first half of the paper, it's all about theory. The second half of the paper is about your career. Okay? And why you want to do what you want to do and how the theory supports that. And that's the paper. Okay? So it's got to be written in ASA or APA format. You should all be familiar with both of those. You've already had many, many sociology classes. You've written many, many, many papers. So your writing should be at this 4,000 level. So it shouldn't be an issue. Complete sentences. Make sure you proofread. You will be graded on how well the paper is written. You will be graded on how professional the paper is. You'll be graded on the style and the formatting, making sure it's within those styles. The font is correct. You have the right amount of page numbers. The header is in the correct spot. All of those details that you should know by now how to do. And it'll be graded just based on how much it makes sense. Okay? So it's not a difficult paper. It's a really great paper. It's you bringing everything together and talking about your theory, and then what you want to do with your life after you graduate, your career. And if you don't know what you want to do, that's why you took that quiz at the beginning of the semester, so we could already solidify what you wanted to be, okay? Because they gave you 3 top choices. And if you already knew what you want to be, you can just go with that, okay? So that's the paper, okay? The presentation is got to be about a 12-minute presentation, okay, where you present. It can be between 12 and 15 minutes. You present the highlights of your paper to the class. So you're going to do a PowerPoint, okay, and you got 12 to 15 minutes to talk about your theory and talk about your career choice and how your sociology degree has prepared you for this career. And you kind of got to sell yourself. I always look at the presentation as if I'm the employer and I want to hire you, but I'm not real sure yet because you have a bachelor's degree in sociology and you want to go into human resources, and I'm not real sure how somebody with a bachelor's degree in sociology can be an effective assistant in HR. This is where you sell yourself to me. Okay? This is where you talk about theory, and you talk about your career, and you talk about why you're the perfect person for the field of human resources, or the perfect person for a career in law, or the perfect person to be a teacher in education, or social services. I mean, the list goes on. You have your book. You see all of the types of jobs that a sociology graduate can do, okay? So the presentation is something you do in front of your peers. You are timed. So the rubric for that is the presentation organized? Does it look good? Is it presentable? Is the font big enough for me to be able to see it on the PowerPoint presentation? Are you just reading the PowerPoint, or are you using highlights from the PowerPoint and you're verbally expressing yourself to me? So you'll be graded on how well you know the information versus just reading it, okay? Be graded on how nice it looks, how organized it is. It will be graded on time. Did you fall under 12 minutes or did you exceed 15 minutes? Okay. You're going to be graded on how you're dressed. So make sure you're dressed appropriately. I mean, you don't dress for the job. So, I mean, if you're applying, like if your career choice is to run a wilderness camp, right? You don't have to wear a suit and tie. You can wear, khakis and a pullover shirt or a polo, or just a nice top. You don't have to wear something fancy. You can wear casual attire. So dress for the position, okay? Present yourself based on how you would expect to go to work, or how to present yourself like that. So That's the presentation. Okay. And this is kind of what we've been working towards this entire semester with the reading of the book and the discussions. And really, most of the semester has been you working on the paper and the presentation. And in the last several weeks of class, that's what we do. Okay. So the presentation schedule, I'm going to upload it into BlazeView so you know what days you're presenting. So please check BlazeView to see what day your presentation day is. Everybody has to attend every presentation. So even if you go first, still need you to be present for your peers' presentation as a common courtesy. So just please make sure that even if you're not presenting that day, you still need to be present out of respect to your peers, okay? Because that's what we do. And plus, you may have some follow-up questions. You may learn something, okay? I hope this video has been informative. You have my email. I prefer that you email me through BlazeView if you have any questions so I can get to you quicker. But this completes my explanation of the paper and capstone presentation. All right, I'll see you guys soon.